And the only thing when I go to the live stream, I have to make sure I mute that so I'm not hearing myself.
Oh, gotcha.
Okay, when we started admitting people in a little before. That way they'll know we're still here.
Yeah.
And then I'll also record it just in case, but we should have the YouTube should take care of that, but
Okay.
Mr. Heidenreich, how are you?
I was wondering if there was any sound on.
I think we've done well since we haven't done one of these in a while. I think we're up and running and got sound and video, and we're on the YouTube, so that's up and running for people that can't make it. So I think we're
We
doing all
may
right.
have been pretending there wasn't sound strategically, Paul, but we'll let you discern if that's the case.
Bruce Whitehead. See, he's muted. Brute.
Weary traveler, welcome back, Bruce. Guessing you're back.
There he goes.
I am back,
Good.
safe and sound. Well, I'm not sure about sound, but safe.
Bruce, you just need to know when you were not around at the Drury, it was utter chaos.
I can't imagine that if you were there.
Paul kept poking Rob to spend more money.
Well,
Actually, I about walked out when I saw his financial irresponsibility. I'm not going to lie.
oh, well, this too shall pass.
There you go. That's exactly right. Hey, Scott Stevens made it sound like we have oodles of money. We can just spend.
Well, yeah, the federal government says that every day.
Not after transferring that money and opening the CD. Rob, you got to tighten your belt, man.
Checking account doesn't look so good now, huh?
Look at Yorktown.
Don't even want to know why you have ones, Heidenreich. Not asking.
Not sure what.
Oh, Lee.
I have a lot to learn, don't I, Paul?
Hey, I'm just along for the ride like Dan Armstrong.
Remember, Paul, this is YouTube, so it is public record now that we're,
Is it already recording?
it's not recording, but it's on YouTube, so it's pretty much live. Yeah, it's there forever.
Some new people on here.
Yeah, we see some new faces, see some new names. What we could do is in your Zoom profile, if you want to actually rename yourself and maybe add in your school name where you're at, that might be beneficial for those that are here. You need to rename yourself. You should be able to highlight over your own little image, and in the upper right hand corner would be 3 dots, and then that should give you the bottom choice of renaming.
So Dan Gender, I want to share a funny story with you real quick. We had our big volleyball invite on Saturday, and Concordia comes up here, and we did a program and all that stuff like we always do. And this parent from Concordia comes up and said, "Hey, these these kids listed in this program are not our kids. And I'm like, what are you talking about? We got it from you guys. And after I did some search and we put your volleyball roster in for Fort Wayne Concordia for our invite, and your niece was on the list, obviously. So I said, yep, this is Fort Wayne Carroll, because I see a Ginder on the lineup.
It would have been my daughter, but
Oh, sorry about that. I thought it was your niece.
at least we didn't miss the event and not come.
But are you guys, do we have you coming up later? I think we do, don't we? Or no, I can't remember.
Yeah, we head down there.
Yeah. It was funny. And sometimes Concordia has a sense of humor, and they had one, which was good.
It's always a fun time to come to Yorktown.
You know it. Yep. Rob Seymour's never been here. I just think one time he'd like to come over, but
I'm just wondering how many conversations I go and speak with you when you don't mention your volleyball program.
I haven't mentioned them at all this year until right now.
For those of you that are just joining, again, rename your Zoom profile, first, last name, add in your school name at the end there. You can do that.
How do you do that? Lee, how do you do that?
Okay, so hover over your name.
I'm there.
Okay.
Hover over
and
yourself.
when you do that, at the top, it says mute, and then there are 3 dots.
I'm on the 3 dots.
Click on those 3 dots. The very bottom says rename.
Okay. Rob Seymour wannabe.
There you go. Oh, all right. And Mr. President, I have 8:31. So let's go ahead and get rolling. Obviously, if you will continue to drive and continue to admit people, that would be great. But since everybody is incredibly busy, we're going to go ahead and get rolling. So first of all, good morning and thank you all for coming. I apologize for yesterday's reminder. After most of you were already out of school, I forgot that I was on Kentucky time and the rest of you are in the real world. You're an hour ahead of me. So I will work to do better at that, to send reminders out a little bit earlier. This year, if you had a chance to read Mr. Seymour's letter, it was IIIA year of support. And I think that's really important because we continue to have nearly record numbers of new athletic directors every year. And I think this year's number is 54 thereabouts. And that's just a huge turnover. So thank you guys for being here. Would like to make sure that you reach out to those new people. You know, we were there once, and I don't know about you, but I still remember how scared I was. Sometimes I still am. And it's nice to know that there's somebody else out there who's feeling the same things I'm feeling and can help me. So if you would, make sure you reach out to those folks. We'd also like to ask you to make sure that you update your IIAAA membership. And in the process, if you know ADs in your area, whether they're high school, middle school, new people, whatever, reach out to them and ask them to join the IIAAA. That would be very helpful to us. You know, we need to make sure that we have participants, but we need to make sure that we're active participants and that we have a voice in the conversation. And the best way for us to do that is to join and attend meetings just like this. In case your people don't know, there is an easy way to join or update your membership. If you go to your myihsa.net page, I'm a visual person, so if I talk with my hands, I apologize. But if I'm looking at my myihsa.net screen, on the left-hand side, there's information about my school profile, and right below there's a link to join the IIAAA. So if you didn't know that bad boy was there, it is, and we would encourage you to use that. At this point, I'm going to turn it over to President Seymour. And Rob, would you like to speak to the group this morning?
Yeah, can you guys see my screen? Here's the MyHSA, and what Leanne was talking about right here is the join the IIAAA. If everybody can see that.
Yes.
So that's what she was referring to there. I'll stop the share there. Again, thanks for joining in. We've got 50 plus. And as you know, as Leanne said, we've got 54 new ADs. And I really would encourage all of you again to reach out and help our new athletic directors. We always talk about how it's really important to attain new talent and also but retain that talent. And then the other piece that I would encourage you to do is if you have a junior high AD, obviously the IHSA has asked you to put those into the myihsa.net site, but also share these videos that Leanne's going to be doing this year with them and see if you can get the, share the link, get them into this meeting, and show them the value of IIAAA if they've not been a member before. You can even reach out to other people in your conference, the same thing. So obviously, when I took over the presidency from Paul, and just to give kudos to Paul again, tremendous job last year with his leadership. But one of the things that I kind of mentioned at the conference was that to connect and inspire. And obviously in our profession, we talk all the time about how we are, maybe at different schools, but we're doing the same thing. We're all tackling the same problems and facing the same issues at some point. Very seldom are you going to face an issue in this profession that someone hasn't already, navigated through. So it's really important that we help each other and continue connecting and inspiring one another. When you think about going to opposing schools, we played week 1 at North Central, and you just look at how North Central, Andy Elkins is doing things there. There's some inspirational things that then you take back to your school. So I know all of us are kind of that same way. So again, at any time this year, if you have anything that I can do to help you as the president of the IIAAA, please reach out to me. And I want to thank the other leadership of the IIAAA and helping me throughout this year. It's a great organization. And if you're not a part of it, then I would strongly encourage you to join the IIAAA. And as Leanne said, get involved. Also like to give a little shout out to the IHSAA and with Ed Gillian, with what they're doing for the new ADs and the mentorship program that they are launching, and Ed is doing a great job of supporting new ADs. So if you're a new AD, or if you see a new AD that's really struggling, we will talk later about who we have with our membership that's in charge of mentoring, but Ed Gilliland at the IHSA is also a great resource. So man, that's kind of all I have. I will keep driving and letting people in as they attend, and you can take off with your agenda.
Okay, awesome. We'll put Roman Smith on the spot. Roman, I think I saw you join. Are you with us this morning?
I am. Thank you, Leanne. I appreciate it. Quick message from me, just from a standpoint of I'm so thankful to be in the leadership role that I am with the IIAAA. At the end of the day, getting to work with our colleagues and each one of you, it's what inspires me to do what I do, as well as with our student athletes, is those connections, networking with each of you. Very thankful for Leanne and Rob, as well as getting to know them and work alongside them. It's an incredible organization. The more you dive in, the more you learn, the more you get to know people. And it becomes more from a standpoint of a stepping stone position to an actual career that you turn it into and enjoy it. So I echo a lot of the things that everybody has said so far, but from that standpoint, always here to help, always here to support, and however that I can in different parts of Indiana. So I'm going to turn it back over to Leanne, but I appreciate that.
Yep. Thank you, Roman. Mr. Whitehead, sir, welcome back to the country from France. Is there anything that you would like to share out with the group this morning?
Not really, Leanne. Just appreciate everyone's attendance at this meeting. I appreciate everything that our ADs do across the state for our student athletes and our coaches. We certainly are one of the states that are leaders nationally in the things that we do and the facilities we have and in what we provide our student athletes. I still am amazed that we, during those COVID years, are the only state that conducted every state tournament and every season in full and on time. And I think that's a credit to the leadership of the organization, but also to all of our members and the time they put in and the dedication that they put in for our student athletes. So just keep doing what you're doing and just know that you're making a difference in the lives of many, many people. You may not know it until 20 years from now, but you are making a big difference in the lives of many, many young people. Thanks.
Thank you, Bruce. Okay, and then Paul, Bryce, or Scott, any of you guys have anything that you would like to share with the group before we move on? No. Scott?
For the IIAA members, for the board members, we did open that CD yesterday, so that's taken care of. But yeah, I don't have anything else. Welcome to the new year, everybody.
Okay, so what Scott's talking about is he's gonna make us a bunch of money, so look for that, right? No pressure, Scott. All right. As we kick off this new year, I don't know about you guys, but I'm already starting to see those sportsmanship reports and getting those reports of, yellow cards from soccer and all sorts of good things like that. I want to actually take a step back. This graphic behind me is our sponsor for today. And Greg Hill, I don't believe is on here, so I apologize if I skipped over that, but Hometown is our largest sponsor of the IIAAA, and obviously that's subject to change as more and more companies join. And I believe the IHSA is also moving to EventLink for their tournament ticketing. That's something that we need to be aware of. As the largest sponsor, we may end up losing them. So I'll put on my Greg Hill hat for just a second and ask you that every chance you get to support any of our IIAAA sponsors, please give them a chance at anything that you might be going out for bid or looking to buy some products. Now I'll move ahead to sportsmanship. Does anyone in this group have any unique ideas, any plans? Like, how are you tackling this year? What are you rolling out for sportsmanship and really trying to make sure that we're doing our part, right? We know that we continue to lose officials, and a lot of it is due to age, but a lot of it is that young people don't want to go into it because of maybe how they feel that they're being treated by fans, parents, players. Any good ideas that you would like to share regarding sportsmanship? Silence is golden. Okay, Rob?
And I will share. I always worry about our freshman parents more than anything. It's their first time being involved with high school athletics. And so this year with the freshman boys and girls soccer, we do a doubleheader with all of our boys and girls freshman soccer. So before our PA announcer took the script and started, I just went down at the bottom of the bleacher and then welcomed everyone and explained to them how hard our athletes and coaches have been working all summer. And now it's our job as parents and spectators to do our job. And that is to just cheer for our athletes, positive cheers. And I explained to them that if they are so passionate about soccer that they can't control their negative comments, then we had a position for them in the concession stand. So I thought it was well received. And actually, it's now we have some other small reminders that we sprinkle in with the PA the script, and I think it's got a good start for our freshman soccer. So that's something I intend to probably do when we get to freshman basketball. Just again, getting out in front of the crowd and making a quick announcement.
Okay, thank you. Sounded like somebody else was going to jump in. All right, so President Seymour says we can take all of our negative parents and we can put them in concessions. Got it. Let's see how that works. No, I do like the idea of, they don't know what they don't know, right? And so that also falls in our plate. A little bit of preventative maintenance. If you can grab those parents, grab those young kids early, and maybe they can learn our way, whether it's the Fisher's way, the Wildcat way, whatever the case might be. I do think it's important that we share that information with them and that expectation. Okay. Also rolled out this year was the new officials rating system. Anybody have any thoughts on how that's working, not working? Anybody have any questions that somebody else in the group may have experienced something similar and have received an answer for it?
Leanne, the only thing that I've heard from a negative side of it is, those surveys went out to officials, and with football, you may only have 4 crews that come to your school. We know that those surveys are anonymous, but if a school were to receive information from the IHSA stating that, they weren't treated very well, no hot water, some other complaints, that the school wouldn't be able to identify what crew sent in a negative report. And so they were worried about the backlash from that survey. So they may be a little less likely to complete that survey. It's probably not a problem with soccer, volleyball, baseball, basketball, football, or baseball, basketball, where you've got, 28 events, 26 events, something like that. And it would be hard to determine where that negative survey came from. But with football, it could be an issue.
Okay. Bryce, do you know if that was passed along at all, or is that something that we should?
No,
pass
it's the
along?
first. I got
Okay.
that call. I got that call yesterday afternoon from an official. So I have not spoken to Brian Lewis about it yet.
Okay. Do you plan to, or would you like for us to?
Yeah, I'll talk to Brian. But
Okay.
don't know if anybody has heard anything from their local officials about that.
But that's a good point. If you only have 4 crews, it's pretty hard to make that anonymous at that point. Okay. Anybody else on the official survey?
The only thing we've heard, or our coaches talked about with cross country, and I encourage any school that's hosting a multi-team event, make sure you have the correct schools in your event link. Make sure all the schools that are participating are there. We're getting, our cross country coach, we're getting surveys for events that we're not in this year. And that falls on the host school. So make sure your list of schools and event link are accurate. So schools that aren't there aren't getting officials ratings for your event.
Yeah. And I asked the question last week. So obviously if there's a sportsmanship report and it's supposed to go to Brandon Ecker at Fortville instead of me, there's a place for me to hit reassign. With the officials, there's not a place for me to hit reassign, but I can just click like not seen. And then normally what I do is I will email Ecker, say, hey, you should be on this list, not me. So I don't know if he's reaching out. I don't know if they're correcting that or not. But that is just a little bit of a kind of a glitch, if you will. But it's very similar to I get event reminders, and we just have to make sure that we're putting in the right school, because otherwise we continue to get those. Okay.
And I got one more thing.
Sure, Bryce.
From that. If you are hosting a tournament and have multiple games, make sure you're splitting those games up. And if you've got 6 officials coming in for a basketball tournament, make sure that those are listed in separate games. Do not have all 6 officials listed for like a 6 o'clock start. It needs to be 3 on the 6 o'clock game, 3 on the 7:30 game, and make sure you have your opponents in event link identified, so that the appropriate schools are able to evaluate those officials.
Yep, that's good. That's good advice. And that's like even with wrestling, you go to an invitational and maybe it's a conference duels or something like that. So personally in event link, I have the header that says conference duels, has date, time, location, and then where my guys are wrestling, if I'm hosting it or whatever, I put the teams underneath that. So I think that's what you're speaking to, Bryce. Is that right? Yeah. Okay, good. Anybody else? Any issues, questions, concerns with the officials surveys? Okay. Mr. Avery, you've been very quiet here this morning. Not that that's like unlike you. I don't mean to call you out, but is there anything that you would like to speak to the group about on behalf of the foundation?
Good morning. I don't know how to quite take that, Leanne. Obviously the endowment fund is alive and well. I think our balance is a little over $10,000. We are in the process of probably sending a couple $1,000s up to Eric Stevens at John Glenn High School in Northern Indiana. His son was in a pretty horrific traffic accident back in early June, and is hopefully just coming home from the hospital this week. So obviously his wife kind of had to cease her job, and obviously the financial and emotional stress on the family is pretty high. So we're going to look to send them a couple $1,000s on behalf of the endowment. And the only thing I would add is if there are people in your area that athletic directors, we certainly hope that they would be members of the IIAAA, but they don't have to be, that come across some bad times, be it a health or financial situation, or even a school that might be the victim of a horrific storm or some other natural phenomena. Let us know, and we'll do what we can for that group. And I just ask for your continued support at the state conference at the Monday Social. That's kind of how we raise money, and we're looking at some other ways as well. So that's it for now.
Okay, thank you, Brian. I know the members who benefit from that, their families greatly appreciate it. So thank you for doing that. Okay, open it up to the group because again, I sent an email late yesterday asking if you had any questions or concerns. So open floor. Anybody have anything they want to throw out there before we prepare to wrap this up this morning?
Leanne, just a quick thing. To Rob and Jim, I noticed obviously it's all over the news that you're making changes in your entrance with the middle school. Can you just tell us how you were able to do that? And I mean, I'm sure you've already heard some feedback, but and I'm sure you're going to get feedback, but you know, how did that come about? How did you work through that? Because I think, you know, a lot of us think it's a great idea, but how did you get buy-in, that kind of thing?
Well, I am actually going to allow Jim Self to speak on this. As you know, Fishers and Hamilton Southeastern are same school district, and they are going to have the first football game that has to have this incorporated. So, Mr. Self, you want to go ahead and speak to Phil's questions?
It was all Fisher's idea. And we just had to follow suit. Hey, do you really think that's newsworthy? For goodness sakes, it must be a slow news day. You know, the truth is, everybody that's been to Hamilton Southeastern and Fishers, nobody's going to feel sorry for us, but we have, we just don't have the facility to host the size of football crowd that we're getting. And our administrators are spending more time with junior high and intermediate school kids than they are with our kids. And we'd love to say, go sit in the bleachers, but we don't have bleacher space for them. And we really don't think this is that controversial, but we're getting parents, and we've continued. This has been a long time problem. Every Monday meeting that we have, we always spend time post-football game talking about, our administrative team talks about what are we going to do with our junior high kids. So really, this was a suggestion from our athletic department to our central office. We had to run it through a lot of channels to get it done. It didn't seem that difficult for us. And I think the hard part, and you guys were worried about it Friday night, is how do you police it? And we are going to have a vice principal, we hope, and a police officer at each gate. And we're going to have some signboards. Fisher's Department of Works is going to have some signboards, and we're trying to communicate it. Really, I guess I'm kind of glad that it made the news, because that helps emphasize the importance of it. We know we're going to lose some money. We know the concessions are going to lose some money. But quite honestly, when both Fishers and HSE play at home, we don't have enough police officers that work our games to control this kind of thing, and they don't want to control it. So we saw it as a safety issue. We saw it as a supervision issue. And so that's why we're doing it. And we hope it doesn't put a damper on other schools, but we just felt like with our facility, we can't manage all these kids.
For those of us outside the area, what exactly did you do?
Great question.
Yeah, good question. We told K through 8, something went out from our central office yesterday, that K through 8 had to be accompanied by an adult. So
And supervised.
And supervised. So you can't just drop off your kid at the game and go get your drink on and then pick them up 3 hours later.
Yeah, guys.
Oh, go.
Sorry, here this is Justin at Lafayette Jeff. Hey, we've been doing that, and our junior high athletic director is actually on here. We've been doing that for a few years. Really with our kind of fifth through 8th graders, making sure they have an adult when they come in. And you're right, at first it's a little rough, but it's really made it a whole lot easier to run our event and set up things.
Justin, how do you police it? What advice would you give us as we go into the first game doing it?
Yeah, so the first one's always the toughest one. We get it announced on the intercom over there all week long going into the game. They have IDs too, so we have our ticket people checking their IDs, and if it's a Tecumseh junior high ID, then they got to have an adult with them. And you know, being the third or fourth year, it just gets easier every year as it's more of a habit. Jeremy, is there anything you want to add there?
I would just say the students don't like to hear it when we say, hey, your parents have to be with you. But we are consistent with keeping it on the announcement so they know. That way, when they show up, there's not a shock that they're not able to walk in without a parent.
Justin, do you require students, high school students, to show their ID at the gate?
Not really. We just have our ticket people. Just if we're not sure, we'll ask them. So we encourage our high school students on the announcements and on our postings, like, hey, make sure you've got your ID on you to get in. That way, if we've got a question, we check it. The other thing too, in past years, Tecumseh has given us one of their administrators every home game to help us identify kids if we have an issue, to kind of keep it going. They're not officially doing that this year, but there's always one or two of them at the games, so we can just grab them and say, hey, is this one of your guys's, and clear up any issues we have.
This is Virtual Clark, Fort Wayne Community Schools, AD, District AD. This year, we also have implemented IDs for all students, along with K through 8. They have to be accompanied by adult. The first 2 weeks have been a little sketchy, but we have an administrator as well from a visiting school attend. But we have a lot of students. We have a lot of districts here in Allen County, East Allen, Southwest. So we just want to be able to understand who is entering in our buildings and our facilities. It has not been a lot of pushback so far, but we have had multiple occasions of making parents come back, and they haven't had any arguments. They just come in, sit down, and watch the game and leave with their kids.
Bill, one thing I would say is that at least the social media that I've looked at, and I haven't looked at a lot of it, it's kind of been, the response has kind of been, duh, like, of course they should be doing this. So I thought that was good.
That's great.
Jim, we do it for basketball, football, and volleyball. We don't do it for our other sports. So the hassle you'll get is when that parent rolls up that doesn't want to stay, and we make the kid leave. And we've made kids get on their cell phone this year and call the parent to come back and pick them up at our football game. And you might get some of that, so just be prepared to enforce that. And that's the headache. But we have a security guard at each one of those, or a police officer at each one of those entrances, because somebody might just be dropped off half a mile from the gate and those kids walk up by themselves, and we're like, hey, where's your adult? We don't make it be a parent. It just has to be an adult with them. And we classify an adult as a high school student that's a junior or a senior. So we ask that person, and that's for basically middle school kids only.
Paul, do you find it's more difficult that you only limit it to those sports, whereas if you go across the board, it's just a habit?
Leanne, those are our most attended events without parents, to be honest with you.
Okay.
And we really haven't talked about doing it at soccer or baseball or softball, because those crowds are not like we get for those other sports I listed.
Okay, thank you.
So once the kids get in there, what do you do to keep them from running amok if you don't have enough bleacher space?
So we have two places. We have some sections of bleachers. I think we have 5 sections of like tip and roll bleachers where the middle school kids are supposed to sit. And we use middle school administrators to help with that. And that has been a humongous challenge to get that to happen, but finally they've bought in. And then we have a space that's roped off with flagging that if those kids want to hang out, I guess, if you want to call it that, and run around and play tag, we do let them do that. If they get out of that space, we use our wrestling club dads. We use them as kind of some security, and they kind of responsible for trying to keep those kids in check. On our home opener with Anderson, it did not go as well as we wanted it to, but it'll be cleaned up before our next home game. But we have two places where we put those kids. And if they get out of control, what we do is we basically say to them, who did you come with? And where are they? And we use either those wrestling dads, or it might be an administrator or a security officer, to take them to those people and just say, hey, your person you brought is not conforming to what we want. That's not happened very often, to be honest with you. Maybe 3 times in my couple of years that we've implemented that policy. And just at football, all the other ones, we've not had problems with kids being crazy at basketball or volleyball.
Mr. Self, were you going to add something else?
No, ours is again just a space issue, and we try and tell them to sit in the stands, and we have a section that we've roped off as well. But the truth is, it's hard to get an administrator or a police officer. I like the idea, Paul's idea of wrestling dads, and then maybe paying that group to help supervise. I think that's a really good idea.
Hey, Jim, we give them, just real quick, we pay the wrestling booster dads $100 a game. And so they're going to get $500, and they help us. They hold ropes to have teams walk in and out. They supervise that area. They usually have, we're not as big as you. We get 3 or 4 dads that do that. And it's been going on here in that regard for a long time. And that's an easy donation for us to give to the Wrestling Booster Club dads.
It's really good, Paul. I appreciate that. I think if we just tased the first kid that got out of the line, the rest would follow suit.
Wouldn't take many times of that, I'm sure, for your future employment or for kids getting out of line. But hey, minor technicality. All right.
Thanks,
Anybody
guys,
else?
for the info. That was, I didn't mean to open a can of worms, but it helps out a lot.
Yeah, no, Phil, great question. And Darren, great follow-up, because those of us outside didn't really know what was going on. So thank you for asking that. Go ahead,
Yeah,
Rob.
thanks for the input. Good input.
We're glad that Southeastern gets to try first.
Okay. Anybody else have a question that they wanted to, or idea they wanted to throw out in front of the group?
I have a question. The IIIA membership is supposed to be dual. Is there still a membership due for the NIAAA?
I believe when you pay that, then Scott's job is to separate that out. He keeps the part that goes to IIAA and sends the rest on to national. Is that correct, Scott?
Correct. I have to put together a spreadsheet and send it to the NIAAA, and then work with them to see how much money I need to send them. Then they send me they send me an electronic invoice, and I pay $80 per membership goes to the NIAAA, and we retain $45. So yeah, I've become very good friends with Patty, especially at Patty and Nellie at the NIAAA.
So maybe I still need to reach out to them, but how do we like I'm trying to get my NIAAA number to register for the conference coming up in December. How do I get into that membership and get that information?
Once the NIAAA processes those payments from us, then especially new ADs that don't have a number yet, then the NIAAA will issue you a number, and then you can log into the NIAAA, go to your profile, and then you'll be able to see what your number is up there.
Okay.
Answer your question, Jerry?
If you've had a membership before, dual membership, you can go into your IIAA AMP account, and your NIAAA member number should show in your IIAA AMP account.
Yeah, that's a new membership for me. I guess the issue I'm running into, maybe you can help with this, is trying to get registered for that NIAAA conference down in Orlando or wherever it's at. But then they're requesting like your NFHS or your, I'm assuming NIAAA membership number, and I just
Right.
don't have that.
When did you pay your dues?
Paid them probably early August, once I got in and took over.
You should have by now. Scott, you would have sent that on to Nellie by now, probably.
Yes. That's it. Jerry, I can, after we're done here, if you want to give me a call, I can work with you on that.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay. Anybody else?
Leon, I got something real quick. Hey, as we
Sure,
get
Paul.
ready to start our district meetings 1 through 6 here in the fall, you know, we're always asked to nominate athletic directors for certain types of awards. And I know the district directors will get that information out. Really, really consider nominating some people within your areas for the Distinguished Service Award, for the Charles Moss Award, for the High School Athletic Director of the Year, Middle School Athletic Director of the Year. I know when we have gone to District 4 many times, sometimes it's like pulling teeth to find people to win these honors. You know, there are a lot of people in our organization that are doing great things that you know of. And sometimes people are like nominated every year. I mean, it's not just 1 or 2 people in your areas that are doing great things. So if you get that email from your district director and they say, hey, we're taking nominations for a certain amount of honors that we'll recognize at our state conference, please give that some thought on who you think is deserving. And the other thing is, if you do nominate them, they've got to be a member of the IIAAA. They have to be. We've had people that have been nominated and won before that unfortunately were not IIAAA members. So just give that some thought. I don't know how it is in all your districts, but at least in District 4, sometimes we struggle to put names forward. And that has always been something that I just didn't understand, because you're all doing great things. And just consider that, please.
Okay. Thank you, Paul. Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to switch gears a little bit and turn it over to Ryan Harrington. Ryan, Paul, and Greg Martz are working in conjunction with the IHSA for a mentorship program. So Ryan, what would you like to share with the group this morning?
Well, we're pretty excited. I think that a lot of our new ADs may be in the IHSA new ADs meeting with Carrie and Brian right now, actually. So we may be missing some of those, but we will be hosting new AD meetings. We have a Zoom coming up on September 12th, and then we have identified some ADs that will run a in-person new AD meeting at all of our IIAA district meetings. So we're real excited to get that off. We sent them out a letter, and again, I know it's already been said, but if you have some new ADs in your area, please take the time, reach out, even if you don't need anything, just to introduce yourself and be there as a lifeline, someone who can answer some questions. We all remember our first years, and that'd be hugely helpful to anybody else coming in.
Okay. Thank you, Ryan. Other important dates while we're at it, because obviously the 12th is for new ADs, and that's first and second year ADs, both of those obviously welcome to do that. District 1, your meeting is September 7th, Sandy Pines Golf Course at 9:30 a.m. Central. District 2, your meeting is September 25th at Huntington North at 10 a.m. Eastern. District 3, September 26th, Adidas Factory Warehouse, 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Some of us are jealous of that location. District 4, September 13th, Shelbyville High School, 10 a.m. Eastern. District 5, Never Disappoints, September 20th, French Lick Resort, 10 a.m. Eastern. District 6, We Like to Eat, September 14th at the Gastoff in Montgomery, and that's 12 Eastern, 11 Central. Also remind you that national conference is in Orlando, December 15th through the 19th. If you've never had the opportunity to go, it's great networking opportunities just to know there are other people in states beside you that are dealing with the same things, but they have unique takes on and ideas on how to maybe do the same thing that we're doing. So it's great opportunities there. Would also remind you that our state conference is March 16th through the 19th. And Rob already has a great list of speakers lined up, ready to go. But maybe you have something that you're really good at and you would like to share. If you would please let us know. Rob would be happy to put you on an agenda, give you a room, let's put you in a workshop, because we do good things here in the state of Indiana. Upcoming topics are going to include like Dan Armstrong, professional development, our DEI with Beth Deviney. We'll continue to make sure that we're working with IHSA Communications and how we can continue to make positive impacts on our own membership, of which you all are going to be an important part. Also hope that you know or are aware, maybe you haven't been there for a while, but our IIAAA website is going to get an update here, hopefully before too long. And then we have some historical records that we have to glean through. So those are just some things that we are working on. For the good of the order, anybody have a comment or anything that we have neglected to share, or another question popped into your head before we sign off this morning?
Just a quick reminder that the IHSA fall principal meetings are coming up, and those do appear on your .NET events, under events. So go ahead and register, and we encourage you to bring some kids to those, as there will be members of the IHSA Student Advisory Committee there to run meetings with kids that attend. So register for the meeting, and if you can bring a few kids along with you, we'd certainly like that as well.
Thank you, Brian. I apologize for not having that on my list. Okay.
We've
Yeah,
got,
go ahead, Rob.
just to, again, these are, mostly veteran ADs in here, since our new ADs are probably with the IHSA right now, but golf entries coming up this coming Wednesday, the 6th. Just as a reminder. And then also this week, launched limited contact. So make sure your athletes are all squared away with their physicals and paperwork to be participating in limited contact.
And then Rob, did you also, or would you also mention Mr. Preheim's award?
Yeah, so I can't, Paul, what's the name? He's up for the Distinguished Service.
You're on mute, Paul.
Or Bruce.
Yeah.
Bruce, what's he up for? I'm just drawing a blank.
Dave has been selected as one of the 11 national award winners for the NIAAA's Distinguished Service Award at the national conference. It will be presented at the banquet on Tuesday night. I think that's December 19th, maybe. So Dave is only one of 11 nationally that will be receiving that award this year.
Thank you, Bruce, and congratulations, Dave, and thank you for everything that you've done for this organization. It is greatly appreciated.
And thank you guys. And it's what Bruce didn't mention is that Distinguished Service Award is named for Bruce, and so it's a pretty special honor for me to receive an award that's named for Bruce, who's done so much for our organization, both on the state and national levels. So glad to represent Indiana.
And again, congratulations, Dave. Okay. Anything else from the group?
I think the last thing, Leanne, is also at the national conference. Rob Seymour is running for section 4. Is that right, Rob? Or what?
Actually, Regents the at-large.
Yeah. So Rob is running for a position on the national board. And there'll be more information that comes out about that before the national conference. But if you attend the conference, you obviously get a chance to have a vote in that. And hopefully we can get Rob on there. He fired me as campaign manager because everything I wanted to do was a violation of campaign finance reform. So we couldn't go to establishments that were shady to try to drum up votes. So if anybody wants to be his campaign manager, he might need a new one.
I have a meeting today to find out the rules, Paul. We'll see if we can get you reinstated.
All right. Last call. Okay. Again, we appreciate everybody being here this morning. Please, 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 please reach out to us. Let us know. If you have ideas, you have questions, you have things that you want answered. That's what we're all here for. Thank you all for your time this morning. Hope you're off to a great start of your school year, and good luck with your sports coming up this weekend. Thankfully, the weather's at least a little bit nicer this week, so let's run with it. Thank you all. Appreciate you being here this morning.
Thank you. Thanks, Leanne.
Great job, Leanne.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Appreciate the help from everybody.
Well done, well done.